the real estate lab, where the market's the game. Austin's the board, and we're changing the frame. Buyers and sellers and investors alike, tune in often, and we'll set your path right. From the hottest market during the COVID days to higher rates now, leaving many in a daze. Inventory's up, decisions are tough, but with our insights, you'll have the right stuff. National news got you feeling unsure. We're your local source with knowledge that's pure. E above Austin, Daphne, and JJ too, breaking it down just for you. VLab ITX, where you're guiding light, navigating Austin day and night. Whether buying, selling, or investing your way, we're here to help every hour of the day. Interest rates are high and some opportunities lie in the heart of Texas, under the big sky. Don't let the headlines lead you astray. We've got the facts to guide your way. From downtown condos to suburban streets, we know the spots where value meets. Tune in frequently, stay ahead of the curve, with insights and tips y'all deserve. No jargon, no fluff, just real talk, helping you take that real estate walk. In Austin's market, ever so grand, we're your trusted helping hand. VLab ITX, where you're guiding light, navigating Austin day and night. Whether buying, selling, or investing your way, we're here to help every hour of the day. So plug in, subscribe, don't miss a beat. With the Real Estate Lab, your journey's complete. Beyond of Austin, Daphne, and JJ, guiding you through, come with me.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Lab, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on our podcast. This is where we talk about Austin real estate trends, strategies, and stories in today's market. I am one of your co-hosts, JJ. I'm here with Ian and Daphne. We're going to dig into a hot and complex topic with our guest, Katie Showell, co-creator of Topos Collective. And essentially the company is doing urban infill development. And if you could talk about that,
nailed
a
it.
little bit about your company.
Yeah, we're doing residential infill development, and we are a spec builder. We work with clients occasionally, but mostly we're doing new construction and trying to have an impact on the housing inventory in Austin and building at as reasonable a price point as we can. So yeah, we take lots that are underutilized. We don't tear down houses that don't need to be torn down, but there's a lot of them out there. So when we find the right opportunity, we try to build additional units. Usually it's one house, and we'll try to build 2 or 3 units using the new development code in Austin.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of...
Katie, I got to ask a question.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, you're gonna hate this question, but you said reasonable pricing. And can you tell me what that means in your mind?
In my mind, I operate from a place of the business needs to make money. We're a for-profit business, but we don't target to maximize profit. That's not our sole purpose for the business. We want to add value, and we want to make the right product for the neighborhood. And then we try to keep our prices as reasonable as possible. And we try to design and build in a very intentional way to not spend too much. We're not making art projects. There's a lot of developers and builders that make really cool art projects, right? That are like $3 million. That's not what we do. We try to make something really interesting, different, but be very intentional about our costs and try to keep our prices as low as possible. But to be transparent, like our lowest price point lately has been about $640,000. And then the max is like 1.2 for some of our bigger houses.
Okay. And even a little bit of backdrop. So I got an article from local news. As of July 2025, Greater Austin area, which are the 5 counties, Bastrop, Caldwell, Hayes, Travis, and Williamson, reported a median sales price of $435,000, down 3.3% year over year. And I think we can all attest to a softer market because Austin was a boom town. Maybe still is to some, but it was super, super hot, white hot, right? and now we're cooling off. How does that look on your end, Katie? Because you're talking about like new projects. I'm assuming you're more Central Austin.
Yes, yeah, we're mostly Central, O2, East Austin, some in 4-5, South Central, like right south of Ben White, and then a few in the north, like Crestview and North Loop area. So we're pretty central. We're in the most, we try to stay in the most desirable areas, but not like the most expensive desirable areas. We're kind of in that fringe. So what does it look like? I mean, our stuff's selling. We don't have a ton of volume, right? If we had 100 houses, we might be in a different situation, but our things are selling and they're not sitting on the market. And part of that is just we're pricing very strategically. We're not trying to get more than what the market's going to command. And we're very in tune with what is the selling in the neighborhood with comps. And we're just strategic about that. We price to sell and they move, which is nice. But I will say I haven't dug far into it, but I have seen, I think resale, and y'all tell me, resale is not doing as well as new construction, right? In terms of, it's harder to sell like a resale house right now than brand new. At least that's what we're seeing. What do y'all see?
What do you think, Bethany?
Did you both call me?
Yes.
Yeah.
My opinion is based on opinion. It's not based on facts. But I'll give it anyway. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it seems like it probably could be true just because a lot of builders, let's say like the mass producing builders, have a ton of incentives. But there are plenty of people that don't want to live where those builders are building. So for instance, I work in the north side of town a lot. And if I have a client that wants to be in Avery Ranch, they're going to have to buy a resale home because the next newest community in their budget could potentially be in like Georgetown, which is the middle of nowhere, and schools might have a lower rating. So is new construction moving quicker than resale? Potentially, but Ian's gone. But I think, yeah, it's based on opinion. It's not based on facts.
Yeah, well, and we're doing infill development, which
feel
is
the most
different. Yeah, than big builders, tract builders that are further outside of town. But yeah, so it's interesting. Prices definitely stabilized. We could have sold them for much more 2 years ago, right? Or 3 years ago. So we are in line. We're not selling higher than the average market per se. But it's still enough to, run the business, and it still makes sense for us.
I have a question, related or not. You mentioned you guys like to utilize underused or underutilized lots. What does that mean?
Yeah, so for decades, the rules have made it so that lot sizes are a certain size, right? There was a minimum, and the Texas minimum was substantially larger than a lot of other major metro cities. So we're in Texas, everything's bigger. We want our yards and all that fun stuff. But because of that, there was lots are very large. And especially in Central Austin, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the houses that were built were pretty small. And they're pretty old at this point. So when we look at a house, we say, does this lot where it's at, could more people live here? And could more people live here at a lower price point? Like I typically don't like to look and analyze a deal and say, could I build a 3,000 square foot McMansion here and sell it for one price point when I could take this little 60s or 70s house, take it down, and build 2 or 3 beautiful homes in a reasonable square footage that, families might be able to afford, more than just like one person buying a $2 million house.
Yeah. How big are let's say like your smallest product? Because you said they're reasonable.
Yeah. So I know y'all have talked a lot about ADUs. So, back before the changes that happened about a year and a half ago, you couldn't really build anything that was an ADU for more than 1,100 square feet. So for a long, long time, you either had a regular main house or you had an ADU, and you were going to max it out. So it was going to be right around 1,100 square feet. Well, now the changes make it so you can divide your square footage across your units however you see fit. So our smallest one that we did this year was 1,274 square feet. But that's the smallest we've done since the ADU shifted, and we could do more than 1,100. But a lot of what we're building right now is in that 1,500 to 1,600 square feet.
Okay.
So we kind of see a hole in the market, because a lot of people were building 2,000 square foot houses and 1,100 square foot houses, and it was hard to find a new construction 1,500 square foot house for a long time,
Yeah,
like a
especially in
true
those
3-2.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in those areas, like I've seen a lot of them where it's like 900 square feet, and all the bedrooms are the 2 bedrooms are clustered upstairs, right? And like that's fine. There's a little market for that. But it sounds like what you're doing is a lot more marketable.
Yeah, well, we definitely have a passion for, I have a passion for affordability, and I want to have as much impact on that as I can. I'm actually doing this program right now at the City of Austin and Housing Works Austin that is a development cohort where there's 16 of us, and we're all learning about how to utilize affordable housing programs and funding to actually build and offer true affordable stuff. So my heart is in that. I'm in the middle of that program right now, but that's one of the kind of initiatives that we're working on. There's a few other development workarounds that make it possible. And I'm talking about true affordable, like below an average market incomes can afford.
Would that be the type of setup where you have a home labeled as affordable housing, and then the person that wants to buy it needs to qualify within some parameters? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm excited. I want to figure that out. It's hard. It's hard. And there are a few people doing it, which is really cool. So looking to them for direction, inspiration in this course, in this program, learning the ins and outs of it. So I'm hoping that we'll be offering that in the next year or two.
Because right now you're talking about like market. In another stat here, like I did the Greater Austin area, according to July 31st Newsweek, Austin home buyers are experiencing a median list price of $510,950, $510,950, marking a 4.9% drop since the same time last year. So it sounds like you're really in the Austin space, if not, I don't know if it's like luxury. Well, you do the million, right? But you're
above the median family income if you're buying the $1 million house, for sure.
Right. And then, so that's another business. And then affordable housing is like with the city, right?
So no, not
nonprofit?
technically. It's really individual developers that do a lot of it, but then to qualify, you have to apply for these different grants, and you have to go through more of the loopholes, just like permitting. Like, for example, there's a program called Affordability Unlocked, and you can take a lot, and if you are going to sell I think it's 25%. I'm not an expert on this yet, but if you sell a certain percentage of them to qualified, like you were talking about, qualified thresholds according to HUD, then you can build more units on the lot. So you could take a lot that you might be able to build 3 and then be able to build 6, as long as you're selling some of them at an affordable price point. So
right.
it's definitely federal and state and local programs that you have to kind of opt into, but it's usually regular developers. You don't have to be a city developer to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's awesome. Sorry, Ian's
Katie,
having.
yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah. I started to talk, but I don't want to interrupt. But I wanted to ask a question. Katie, could you just go over? You keep mentioning the changes that what it was like and what it is now. Can you just give kind of a quick summary of what it was like and what it is now, and why this is a good time for your business to do?
Totally. So what it was like before was it was basically, if you were adding units on a lot, you were using the ADU rule. That was pretty much, you were pretty limited. 1,100 square feet, one other unit was pretty much all you could build on a lot in Austin. And then February of 2024, I believe, I'm looking at my calendar, they did Home Act 1, and that changed it to the ADU rules basically went out the window, and they called it the Home Act. And they just rewrote, you could have up to 3 units by right. And the way that they were setting the square footage per unit is based on a percentage. So if you're going to build 2 units on a lot, you have a certain percentage that you can build of the square footage. And if you're building 3 units, there's a different percentage. Outside of that, it's kind of like creative, and you have the freedom so long as it fits in these 2 parameters. And so for us, and our name is Topos Collective. Topos is about topology and about using spaces dynamically. And so for us, it just kind of unlocked the creative potential of doing more than just one unit that's 1,100 square feet. Now we can do 3 units that are all varying in square footages. And that just, one whole more unit on lots is huge for density in Austin and development. So that's, imagine you're selling 2 houses for 500,000. Now you can sell 3 houses for 500,000. It's just totally that, from a business side, that's exciting. And then from a density side, it's exciting. And then to have more creativity on how you design these units, because you're not locked into the 1,100 square foot rule, it just made it more fun. So, and then I'll tell you, there was a second phase that I have not utilized yet, but it is where it changed the lot size. So that was phase 1, was changing from 1 unit added to up to 3. And then the next phase was changing the lot sizes. So you can actually subdivide lots now down to, and again, I haven't done it yet, but I think it's 1,800 square feet, which sounds tiny, but that is very common in other markets if you think about how houses are designed. So if you have a big lot, and I love this for home buyers. Like, I wish, I'm an investor myself, I wish home buyers and homeowners would think like this, like house hacking on a higher scale. Yeah. You could go buy a house that's on a bigger lot and build 2 units in the back and turn them into rentals, or sell them off and pay your house off. Like, there's just so much you can do now. And especially as a home buyer, now it's expensive to go through the permitting process and the development and architecture process. It's expensive, don't get me wrong, but there's so much potential if you're like really all in on this new options.
So how does that look? Like, if are you working and consulting with investors, or do you just sell finished products?
We do partnerships. That would be my exception for outside parties. A lot of what we do, we just raise capital, we go buy the project ourselves, and then we pay off our investors at the end, right? We're pretty autonomous in that way. But what we also do is we do partnerships with people. So we have 2 partners right now where they own the land. We developed our partnership agreement, and they're staying in the deal all the way. But now we're brought on as equity partners, where we're going to design it, build it, sell it. They're going to get their land value plus their profit share, but we are technically partnering. So we're creative, and I think we're open to the right partner and the right dynamic. But I haven't had anybody take me up on an actual just consulting gig. I'm very interested in doing that and just helping guide people, but nobody has knocked on my door to ask for that. So
about to knock right now. Here's the question. The question is, what is your minimum buy-in if you're doing like a joint venture type scenario? Do you have like a minimum buy-in? Or if you're consulting, what does that look like? Without getting too in the weeds with the numbers, to get an approximation.
Well, I haven't done a deal with either a private equity partner or somebody who's bought the land where it's less than basically $250,000. I mean, the reality is these lots are $400,000 themselves, and then there's a lot of overhead and interest and all of that. So it is a bit of a higher price tag to partner and be a private lender for these. But from a consulting perspective, I guess it just depends. I wouldn't necessarily want a profit share, and I wouldn't want to be in the deal with them, but maybe just like a time thing. I haven't thought about it, honestly. But I guess it just depends on how much time, more of like maybe a mentorship dynamic situation where it's just like guidance and direction. I'm not having to do a lot. I would love to guide more people through the process. But again, I just haven't gone down that road.
Well, so I mean, guess where I'm going with this is, let's say JJ and Daphne and I were like, let's create a real estate lab fund and buy some land and then create affordable housing. And then we hired you. Is that something that in your mind you're like, that would be fun to work on?
Absolutely. Especially if y'all aren't gonna GC the project yourself or can do the construction yourself, then that might be a great partnership opportunity, because you're bringing the capital and the vision, but we can help execute it, because that's our area of expertise, is doing the actual development process and the construction. Like, we do that all in-house. So yeah, it's always in partnership, like who's good at what and who's doing what and how do we put these pieces together. So absolutely.
Yeah. And it sounds like skin in the game would be that high amount of investment, or land lot, which is usually like you're saying, a couple $100,000, $250,000,
Yeah.
$400,000.
There are some lots, I mean, especially if you're going more affordable, there's some selling in the like 300s right now. So it just depends on what you want to do.
And speaking of lot prices, like what borders or areas, I don't know if we should do a map share, that you see your product working in Austin.
Yeah. Let's see. I am happy to kind of just open up Google Maps and kind of point you where we're at. If that's
Yeah, I think
okay.
if you drive it, at
We're
least
gonna
you
try to
probably
figure this
can.
out.
And I pulled some of our project pictures and stuff. I'm happy to share those too.
By the way, Ian, I can't see you. I don't know if
Oh, really?
anyone else
Oh
can.
no!
No, we haven't been
You
able to
didn't-
see it, but that's okay. We can hear your melodic voice.
This whole time?
This
Oh,
whole
I'm so
time you're
sorry.
blacked out, but we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Screen share. Share screen. Okay, let's see.
So I'm on my phone. We're about to find out how this is going to work when you send out the screen share request.
Ian.
Okay, I just clicked it. Are you seeing it?
I'm looking. I'm looking through it.
Because I'd venture and say this is different from your standard suburban Austin.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah. All right, love it. Okay. Yeah, we're pretty central. The numbers for us have so far the zip codes that we're working in that make sense for us is like 78702 is still pretty strong for us. So in East Austin.
Mhm.
And then we're kind of focused in the 78745, like the northern end of 45 is working pretty good. We've started doing a few, and for context, one of our partners is a builder that's been around for a long time. So there's 3 of us in the partnership, and so he also has his own company, Avery Building Company. They have a little bit higher volume right now. So they've been expanding and doing a little bit in this like Crestview, and then we've got 2 in this North Loop. So we're staying pretty much in this like little loop right here. Is what's been working for us. Not to say I know a lot of people building in lots of other areas.
Ian, your background noise sounds loud. I believe that's you at the restaurant.
Hear them ordering pumpkin spice lattes.
This is the sound of the domain.
Right now, it should be good, right? So turn this off.
Oh, we can hear it.
I can hear it.
There we
Okay.
go. We good.
Yeah,
Right.
so I'll show you. Like this is probably not in share view, but I don't know how to do that. Let's see. Here we go. This is like our South Austin. So 78745. This was the front unit, and this is the back unit. And they each had a pool. You know, they're custom designed. They're not, you know, cookie cutter. We work really hard on that. That's one of our kind of value adds is try to make something different.
I have
And
to
what's
say,
the-
I love this style. Sorry, I don't want to cut anybody off, but I'm going to. We need more of this in Texas. This is very like sweet, northern. It tells a story. It feels like this home has a story to tell as opposed to just like, here's a square box with weird angles.
1000%. I am on the same page with you. That is what we were trying to do. This is one my partner just like it hasn't closed yet, but it's in O2 in East Austin. And oh, it's so cute.
Could you go back and talk about like square footage and pricing?
Sorry.
If you know that?
Yeah, no, you're good. This is the smaller one. This was the 1,274 square feet, 2.5, and sold for like 640, 645. And then this back unit was 2,291. It was technically a 5-bedroom, but one of them was kind of small, like an office, even though it had a closet. And yeah, 3 baths.
And 4.5 is like a 70s, 80s neighborhood.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
No HOAs. And
No HOAs. Yeah. This little house that was there was like 800 square feet, had been a rental for like 20 years. It had no windows in the front. It was like a sad cave that hadn't been updated. It was not good. So yeah.
Daphne liked it. Like, is there a trend? Is Daphne onto this like new wave, or is it just y'all's taste, or how's this looking for y'all's choices.
People are eating this up. They are loving it. We call it like modern Tudor is kind of one way that it's said. But I would say I'm seeing a trend for sure. There's a couple other builders in Austin that are really do thoughtful in central Austin, infill builders that do other kind of cute is probably not the right word, but it is. There's like a cute factor to it, or like a warm factor to it. And we're definitely trying to make sure that whatever we're building has something different about it. Not we don't do modern. That's not a thing that we do.
You know what it is? I think one of the things is there's always a cycle when it comes to fashion, when it comes to home design, all those sorts of things. This looks like an older style. People love the character that's in a lot of the older homes, but they still want modern construction and appliances and things that are up to code. So this is a fusion of both worlds. That's what makes it really cool. And you're not going to have the same house as your neighbor. That's another thing that's huge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Katie, are you from Texas?
I am. Yeah. I'm born and raised small town Texas, moved to a lot of different ones, but yeah, Austin's been my home since 2007. I got here as fast as I could is what I always say, but I am a Texan.
Okay. Because this style is, I feel like, very northern, where my mother lives in Minnesota. She lives by the lake, and it's like a very central part of town, it seems.
Well, if you drive around in 04, right, like right off of South Congress, like in those little neighborhoods kind of east of South Congress,
there's a lot of that.
You see the arches, and you see, I mean, it wasn't a lot of different areas, but it definitely, like, the Tudor does have the European,
I mean, that's the best way, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I wish more houses were like this, or maybe not, because then you have something unique.
Yeah.
I actually live in the Tudor. Like I
Really
got a Gehan home in Pflugerville. Like it's production stuff, right? Cookie cutter to a degree, but it's Tudor style. I think Tudor's weird, but you know,
we need to see pics,
different.
JJ. I want to see what this looks like.
Yeah. I looked it up.
Tudor.
So Tudor is emerged in the US in the late 19th century, but it's based on early English building traditions, according to AI Gemini.
So my mom's house is a brick front. It's a little Tudor with kind of like that little arched roof, and it was built in like 1940. And then I also have a little Tudor down the street from her, and it's got like a tiny little house. It's like a little arched brick entryway, whatever. I'm getting completely off topic, but I love it. It's cute.
Thank you. We have several others coming that will be just as cute. So in the next
Do you stick to
year.
Tudor?
Yeah,
And
the
the
other thing
pitch
about
roof?
this, it has a really good use of space with where the pool is, and it's still covered.
Mm.
I think
Totally.
it's pretty clever, the design aspect of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-5 is also a hot spot for this, right?
It is. Yeah. We've got another one right down literally it's one corner away from these, where we're doing 3 units. And they also are going to have a very similar aesthetic with some of the cat side roofs and some of the features that are in this. We're modifying some, but yeah, so we got more coming because it is loved. I was really grateful for all the feedback whenever we listed these to hear. And I was like, I wish I could have built 5 more. I think they would have sold all at the same time.
Yeah, there's a development in 04. I know the street, and they look similar to this. I think they're bigger, and they put them on the market. I want to say it was like end of summer 22 when things were starting to come down, and all of them got sold super quickly, and they were very high price points. So,
I'm gonna have to drive by those. You have to send me the address.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find them.
Is it safe to say the super boxy, kind of like sterile, uber modern is like a 2020s, like early 2020s, late 2010s thing? Or maybe we're just caught in this style right now.
I think we're caught in this style.
Okay. Super modern still like a thing.
I think so.
I think done well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's harder to build that in like 4-5, right? You're not going to be next to anything else modern like that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, for 4-5 because you're moving further away from central. But if it was like East Austin, close to downtown, modern works, maybe.
I think they still stand up, you know, in certain zip codes. It's still, I think there's still a lot of people that love modern. And I feel like I'm seeing a lot more like mid-century modern and like little like slightly nuanced takes on modern, with like the terracotta included in modern stuff and some of those tie-ins that make it just a little bit warmer. It's not as white and black as it was a few years ago.
She's right. Yeah. The people like, the fusion of.
I like the warm though.
Yeah. Well, this just sold. But this was it's on an alley. So this is a front unit and the back unit. And this is very unique. My partner, I won't take credit for this. He's one of the partners in Topos, but he's trying some, I would say, more adventurous kind of his philosophy on a few of the ones he's building are like something you'd see 100 years ago, but like the modern version of that.
Would you call it Victorian?
This is like modern Victorian-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's got another one on East Austin that's kind of like a plantation style house, right? With like the big front porch, and it's going to be really gorgeous. So trying a few different varieties of warm and character, but different, you know.
Do you ever allow agents to do video tours of your properties, or are they sold before they're ever finished being built?
Oh, well, I'm everybody come take videos, come do it. But it is tricky because sometimes we don't even get to stage them because they pre-sell. And so then they're just not as cool to stage. These got staged for both so we could get the photos and videos, but they did end up selling pretty much right away. So this one's actually going to be destaged in about a week. If y'all want to go, I'm sure they'd be happy to have you go.
Can you share the address in the comments?
Yes, absolutely.
We're thinking about shooting an episode on site sometime.
Oh.
So tell us a little bit about like this area and how you chose Victorian in this neighborhood, or how did you read the neighborhood to choose the style?
Well, this is a really cool pocket of East Austin, and I can't take full credit for this. This is really more of my partner, and his wife is the designer. So this is a little bit more of their inspiration. But in this neighborhood, in this pocket, there's already, it's in East Austin, right? And it's in this really cool pocket where it fits in. It does not, it is different for sure, but it makes sense with the other houses there. And I feel like you'd have to almost go see it to you know, fully get it. But we definitely take into account every neighborhood. Like, we're not going to build something that's weird and sticks out. We're going to account for that. Like, we're also not going to be the first one in a neighborhood. You know, we got to see some growth already. So yeah, but that's definitely part of our consideration when we're working with our design inspiration up front, is like, what does this neighborhood need? What would fit right? But what would be different in high demand, but what also makes sense here?
And what was the square footage and price point of this one?
Well, I can give you a range on these. So this is in the like 1.2 range. And then, I don't have this one on the top of my head, but I want to say in like the 700 to 800 range for the back one. And square footage wise, I think this is around 2,000. And I think this one is the smaller one is around 1,300 or 1,400. Yeah, but I can follow up. All this info I can easily share it with you guys.
Please do.
Yeah.
But that's also kind of typical, like front houses, 2,000 square feet, back house more than, 1,000, 1,200.
Yeah, absolutely. And this front one has a pool, which is cool. But yeah. I'm not sure I can figure out the comments. I think I have to log into YouTube to do that, but I'm happy to share it with you after.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, if you could message it to us. I'll message you later because I definitely want to get the address for this.
Sounds good.
I'm redoing my YouTube channel, so I'm trying to do more home tours.
Love it.
But anyway, very cool. If you guys, we kind of talked about this, but if you guys choose to expand your products and your market, what are some other areas of Austin you would potentially be going into?
I think we would just go deeper in some of the areas that we've only barely touched. I mean, we're doing We're doing more in 4-5 right now. We have 3 or 4 across the 2 companies going in 4-5. And then we want to do more in this kind of central Crestview, Brentwood. We're looking for more in this area. That would be an interesting area for us. We have in the past have done more in 78721, which is further, east Austin. But it just that zip code really softened the last 2 or 3 years. So once that picks up, I would like to do more, especially more of the affordable stuff in that zip code would make sense because it's still in the loop, right? And like proximity, it's going to keep developing a lot in this area. So that's in my mind those are our focus areas.
Would you guys ever go into like the suburbs at all if you can find like a lot that has very loose zoning?
Yeah, I mean, if it all pencils out, and like we have built for clients too. So like if a client, somebody wanted us to build something similar to what we've done for them, we would do that too. But yeah, I think if it makes sense, when we would do it.
Yeah.
I think the tough thing is like the restrictions in some of the, like once you get into a certain suburb, it just seems like this central area is like really hot, or maybe Great Hills for Northwest Austin.
Mm-hmm.
But something about the other areas aren't like this product.
Great Hills, because people go there, they're more established, they want like their own piece of property. They're not trying to have a bunch of little houses on there. As beautiful as it can be.
Yeah, you can't ADU. That would be because I've seen some stuff sitting when they try to ADU, like build a second unit too far away from Central Austin, I feel like. Or maybe it was built weird too.
Yeah. I know. I think there's some areas where people go there intentionally to kind of, have more of the suburb vibe anyway. Not that those are suburb level, but still.
Yeah. Very curious. Yeah, just curious. Because there's a couple little pockets of like Austin suburbs that I think are still very popular and very affordable, so to speak, for Austin and have some potential. There's just a bunch of boring development there. You see a lot of apartments, or you see just these very ticky-tacky looking homes, and to have something more interesting there, I think really should elevate these little pockets. But maybe it's another conversation for another time.
Yeah. Well, I was touring yesterday, and there was an A/B unit that was on the market for a while, and because it was on the market for a while, they started marketing it together. I don't know, Katie, if you're selling like A and B separately or together.
I think I'm trying to think if there's an example where we've ever sold an A and B together. I have heard of that. I don't think that we've ever done that. I'm trying to scratch my memory here. I don't think so. But we have had people ask us about it. So we had done one kind of in this Brentwood area, almost like in between Crestview. And it was a woman who was moving closer to her children. And she was like, well, we're thinking about buying both. And then, it's like intergenerational living, but they didn't end up moving forward with it. But I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that builder was in trouble, actually. And they're this was like South Austin, kind of like William Cannon area. Like, I think it was just too far. And like what you're saying, Daphne, there was like an apartment complex close by, just a little off.
Mm. Yeah.
Katie, what's your outlook? This might be one of those one-off questions.
Ian's
we can hear you well. We can hear the girls talking in the background with you.
I was just going to ask what Katie thought of the state of Austin as far as growth, and if she's bullish on it, or if that's changing, the landscape's changing, like where she's at with that.
Yeah, I heard you. So you're asking, am I bullish on Austin and long-term growth? And I would say I wouldn't be in this business if I wasn't bullish on real estate in general and on Austin. You kind of have to be investing at this level in the Austin real estate market. So I love Austin. I think the energy here is incredible. I think the people here are incredible. I think it attracts really interesting people, obviously like business dynamics and state state politics and all that stuff can have a huge impact on business growth, as we've seen, right? They've attracted Samsung and Tesla and all these big companies. And it is really important to think about what the business attraction is for Texas. But so far, even with like the tech industry kind of slowing down a bit, it still seems, I still see that growth. I still see it being relatively stable. And if you look at the history of Austin, even during recessions in the past, Austin hasn't fared as badly as other markets, even in the worst of times. So I feel confident that Austin's just going to be continuing to grow. I mean, the concept of Austin and San Antonio eventually growing almost together, like all that whole, corridor. I can see that coming in the next, 30 years. So I'm here and I love it. So I'm not afraid.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on long term. I think what's interesting is like the short term, right? We got like fluctuating interest rates. We got
Well, they're down right now, right? I'm not up on the daily. What is it right now?
I think it went down a little bit. We don't have a lender.
Like a smidgen.
It's like 6.2 or something. 6.2.
Yeah, it's like right around 6.
Fed meetings next week on the 17th.
Are you noticing any difference with investors, or are people like hesitant? Do you see anything like that on your side?
I don't see a difference in the investors that we have. They're still investing and reinvesting. I think everybody is watching all the time, right, to see if anything dramatic is going to happen. But we haven't had anybody change their investing strategy, including myself. Like, I invest my money privately in deals as well. And I'm sticking to the course. That's the long-term. What is it? What are all the long-term investor guys say? Like, just stay the course. And yeah, so we haven't seen that, but obviously we're a microcosm, right? We're a small group. I'm not seeing anything at a macro level, so I can only speak to my own, what I have in my purview.
Any advice for like small to mid-sized investors looking at Central Austin?
I think obviously it depends on your strategy, but if you have some money and you have some ambition, thinking about how do I develop? You're basically building in equity. You can do construction and build in equity immediately if you just do the investment up front, and it does require a little bit of cash. But if I could start over, or if I had just had more flexibility, like, I would be doing that if I wasn't already doing this, right? Buying with and developing something, selling off part of it. It takes, a good year and a half to go through that cycle. So it's quite a commitment, but the amount of equity that you can create by building is incredible. So I didn't think about that when I was, just getting started. So that would be my advice, is just consider it, and maybe just, talk to somebody like myself who knows what it's really like to go through it, because I think there's more upside and there is more risk, don't get me wrong, and there's more capital requirement, but it is a really interesting avenue that not a lot of people are taking.
Would you mind sharing like what your property search looks like, or how do you find like land lots or owners or teardowns?
Yeah, I mean, we look at the MLS, especially now, because there's a lot of stuff, on the MLS more than there was years ago. So we're looking at the MLS. We have a lot of relationships with wholesalers. Wholesalers I know have a bad rap, but good ones. There are good ones and there are bad ones, just like everyone else. And so they bring us most of our deals, honestly. They're boots on the ground, knocking on doors, finding people that need help and that aren't a traditional sale. So that's most often how we're finding stuff. And then we just run it through our parameters of, is it the right zip code? We go look at it. And then we have our pro forma, and we just plug in the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. So it's not emotional. And I know that can be hard for, I feel I was very emotional when I was investing in my own, just on my own. But with this business, it's very black and white. If numbers don't make sense, we don't move forward.
I've actually heard of a lot of, I would feel like, high-performing developers and investors do talk to a lot of wholesalers. And I think if you keep the relationships going long enough, this is someone who doesn't buy wholesale property, so, take what I say with a grain of salt. But I think, like anything, if you just keep the relationship going long enough, eventually they're bound to have something that's worthwhile.
Totally. And the good ones, they'll figure you out on what you'll say yes or no to. And then what I have found too is like once you do one, they're like, oh, they're real. They will actually buy from me. So I'm gonna like really focus on what they need and know what doesn't fit their parameters.
Yeah. So yeah, like wholesalers can have a bad rap, but they can also be extremely powerful. So as a tool, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Really,
Is
really
there a wholesale agency worth shouting out? Maybe, maybe not.
I wouldn't say that. No.
Me?
No, it's all individuals, right? It's not like one. It's mostly like individual hustler type people that just maybe they happen to be with this one group or whatever. But yeah.
And you
You
get
can look at real estate agents like that too, right? Like we all have the MLS, we all could post on social. It's like who's hustling to find things for the investor or the client.
That's right. It's all about commitment and service.
relationships.
That's right.
Relationships. Yep. Cool.
Here's a current topic. Do you see like tariffs affecting anything with production material? Or immigration or, labor?
All of the above.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real thing. It hasn't impacted us dramatically. I mean, costs have definitely gone up, but it's not like the tariffs have impacted every single bit of material that we buy. So we're not seeing like, oh, across the board, everything's 25%. It'll be like lumber here and, certain materials there. And so, yeah, we definitely are seeing costs go up all the time. But not so much that it's stopping or halting business by any means. So we're just always cognizant of that. And then, we have really great trades, but I have heard many stories about, raids on job sites and stopping. I think they're focusing more on commercial job sites more than like kind of these smaller residential ones. But it's still something that I know like we're talking about, the people at the job site are talking about and are cognizant of. So again, it hasn't dramatically thrown a wrench, I guess would be the right word to say, in anything, but it's definitely something we're talking about all the time.
And then maybe as you're analyzing, you could stress test maybe like a certain material cost or something just to see if it's the numbers still work. And because when you make that offer, that whole drawn out development plan is still there to review the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, we're having to make estimates about expected costs, a year before or not a year, maybe like 6 months before we actually build. So yeah, if it dramatically swings, like we just have to eat that. But same goes for everything else in the market and the process.
Okay, we're real estate agents. My question to you is, what advice would you give to other real estate agents and ourselves about how to work best with you or how to support your business?
Yeah, great question. I think we find that, and I get it, real estate agents are doing all kinds of different transactions, but what we find is we're a new home builder. There are warranties, right? Like we have a builder's warranty and we have some nuances that are not standard in resale. And so sometimes we'll say like, oh, like, have you worked with new construction before? Or like, have you worked with like a smaller builder before? Because we'll find the expectations, especially because we're selling projects right when they're finishing, right when we're getting our certificate of occupancy with the permitting process, right? We're pre-selling a lot of this stuff. So a lot of times the relationships with the agents are in that final stage of construction, and that expectation, if you've never gone through it before, it's a whole different ballgame than selling something that's just ready on the market. So I would say I'm happy. We've actually thought about doing almost like a course or a little class for agents that want to get more knowledgeable about like working with new construction builders and kind of what to expect in those transactions. But I think just having an open mind about what permitting and certificate of occupancy and finish out on a brand new build is something to, keep in mind, that it is just different. And other than that, we're pretty open book. Like we love the real estate community. We have a lot of connections in the building community and the agent community. So we like to stay involved, and we're friends with a lot of the agents that we work with. So building that relationship is important, and like we're an open book, so we're always very transparent, and like honesty and integrity is a really big important part for us. And this is a long-term commitment. We're the long-term home builders for your buyers. So we're going to be talking to your home buyer for the next year as we have the warranty and do follow-ups with them. So it is really not we don't sell it and then never talk to anybody again. So all that in mind, I would say it's not a just straight transaction. It's about a long-term relationship, and it's about, flexibility and understanding, but just being willing to be open and make that connection. It's not just a transaction.
Kind of a random question too. What is y'all's build time?
We've been at about 8 or 9 months, and we're trying to get it down to about 6.
That's really reasonable.
Yeah.
I feel like. Yeah. Because again, like the ticky-tacky big box builders, they're like, we can do it in 4 months, but then you get a ticky-tacky home, right? You wait 3 to 4 and you get this amazing little magical product. Cool. Very cool. That's reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
It's really a permitting process. It takes 2
Yeah.
months. Design takes 2 or 3 months. So all in, it's about a year-long process, but we got the construction part down.
Yeah. Seems like it.
So once you find the lot, it's like a few months for the permitting and then 9 months of like construction, maybe.
Correct. Yeah. That's right.
Is permitting getting easier? Is it the same? How do you feel about Austin? I don't think Austin has a good permitting They have a good permitting reputation in that like you have to permit everything and there's certain zones, which I think creates like Austin neighborhoods are very like distinctly a certain way as opposed to Houston. But then I think when you're in it, they're like a pain in the butt.
Well, what I really appreciate about Austin is there's a lot of integrity, right? There's a lot of integrity with like trees, right? Which we all in Austin, we love our trees and our outdoors. It's important. And then there's a lot of integrity of like, if you're buying something that went through the permitting process, the inspection process is quite rigorous and the expectations are quite rigorous. So you're going to get a good product. So that is kind of like a good reassuring thing about if you go buy some random house in the pasture outside of a town that doesn't have a permitting process, you don't know what you're getting from that builder. They might be great, but they might just, So, well, that's the good thing about the Austin is I love like the integrity is there. The intention and the heart is there. The problem is it's a city, it's bureaucracy. It's, it's just about who's on staff and how trained they are. So it's quite a hurdle. And then that is difficult and challenging is the reputation. And then everything's always changing. So like they just made some changes through the fire marshal or whatever on the wildland urban interface. So like now there's more areas of Austin that have to have these special fire codes because they're calling it a wildland urban interface area they don't want wildfires, which is fair, right? We've seen what's happened in California and in Bastrop and even in Wimberley and all that. So I get it, but it puts a lot of pressure on the builders, right? And the process and the designers. So it's definitely not easy. You have to be a little crazy, I think, to be going in this process in Austin, but it's fun. It's like, you got to be really good at what you're doing to make it through.
I think a lot of the risk is mitigated just by experience. Totally. Obviously, you're from Texas. You've been in Austin since 2007. That's a significant amount of time, and obviously, you know the ins and outs of it. I think the 4 of us do. It becomes scary when you really don't know and you're really gambling, as opposed to just gambling, as opposed to sitting down and really, really crunching the numbers that you know. I don't know about building, so that's all I'll say about that. But
totally,
yeah. Definitely, it definitely makes you and you guys. Ian, what are you doing?
Ian, sounds like you're pumping a tire.
Toilet? Oh.
I don't know what the heck is happening. I wanted to just add some, but it's like every time I unmute my mic, something crazy is happening. So I was gonna say the permitting thing is so darn interesting because I remember years ago I had done some deals in like Taylor and places that just the vibe and the track record is so different. Like you have no idea what you're buying with some of these houses. They didn't permit anything, right? And then you come to Austin, like you said, now you can at least you have a breadcrumb trail that you can follow, and you know that there's a little more care, a little more structure around it. So that is very loud. So yeah, I think it's really important that you said that we have care here in Austin. I think that's important. And then the experience that Daphne mentioned is also huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, the cool thing about Austin, and I'll give this little nugget for anybody who might want to do it themselves, is it is a lot to know, but there's a lot of resources. And the cool thing is City of Austin permitting, all the departments basically have free web meetings. Like if you need to, and the chat is very helpful. We use the chat all the time if we need to clarify a process. So it's not inaccessible. You just have to know, like you can call them, chat them, set up a web meeting to try to find out what is the next step of the process. So that is nice. You don't have to be an industry insider to figure it out, but you are going to need some, gumption to like stay the course. Yeah.
Curious, do you do like custom or is it like spec? And how does that look?
Yeah, 95% of everything we do is spec.
Wow.
Depending on the right partner. We have one right now that my partner is doing for a client, and they're just like really cool people. So we'll do it, but we're not just really out hustling to get a bunch of, design build client jobs, but for the right person, if they understand what we're building and kind of, if it's a good vibe fit, I think we're open to it. We just don't do it a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then when you're building, is the sales like selling before it hits the MLS, like talking about the community we're talking about, or do you
Right
market on the
now,
MLS?
it's about half the time. At least one of the units in the last several jobs last year, I think, have sold pre-market.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them sold in the first, or went under contract in the first like 2 weeks they were on market. And then, these 2 on East 10th that I was showing earlier with kind of the pretty Victorian, they both sold pre-market. So we do a lot of, sharing, and we have our inventory on our website, right? If you follow our social media and, feel like I have a list too. We maintain a list of all of our upcoming jobs. So we try to be very transparent, let people know what's coming. And we have had people that are like, I've been watching you and I'm so excited. I'm ready. Like, what are you having next? So we try to pre-sell as much as we can. It's in our best interest. So we try.
Where can people find your inventory? You got Instagram platform?
Right now, so I don't think, is it sharing anymore?
And control the share.
Okay. I have a list. I actually need to put it on social media. But we have a list like this, and I have one as well for my other partners' inventory. And our websites are like midstream. So all the addresses are on our Topos website, but the details are not. So I'm happy to send this out and share it. I need to get better about just having it live all the time. But right now it's just like, if somebody asks for it, I'll pass it out.
Cool.
Are y'all the first doing the 3 units? I feel like I don't see that as often.
Definitely not the first. There's quite a few, and there's a few that have sold, but we're not the first, but
you're ushering in
up there. Yeah.
ABC 1, 2, 3.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Congratulations on all the movement. Because if you're doing it now, you're gonna do it in 2026. And
I know. I'm like, I just want those interest rates to drop down a point or 2 and let everybody go nuts. That'd be really fun.
Yeah,
nice breath of air.
That would be so nice. So yeah, we'll see. We're committed. We're all in, and we're growing right now for sure. We've got these 7 projects, and we're gonna try to grow even more next year. So we're working on it.
Love it. Well, that's time, ladies and gentlemen. Katie, appreciate you and representing Topos Collective. And for all the viewers, let us know if you need anything. We just talked about a bunch of awesome new construction in Austin, and tune in to the next episode of Real Estate Lab.
Awesome.
Katie, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.